we were just too much dribbling, just too much dribbling. You got to pass, you got to move the ball, you got to cut. And, we were fortunate to win that game. I mean, they dug really.
Becky Hammon just exploded on A'ja Wilson after the Aces got embarrassed by a rookie, yes, a rookie from the Mystics. What went down in that locker room after the loss? Is the Aces dynasty crumbling right before our eyes? Tensions or sky-high emotions are boiling over. And A'ja Wilson's reaction might shock you. This isn't just a bad game. This could be the beginning of the end. Stay tuned. Because what Becky said is not what you'd expect.
We just saw a rookie match up to A'ja Wilson and outplay her. We just saw a rookie match up to A'ja and outplay her. Like that is a...
Becky Hammon, the fiery, no-nonsense head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, looked like she was moments away from ripping off her blazer and hurling into the stands as her championship-caliber team morphed into a group of confused extras in a high school play titled How Not to Play Basketball. Courtside, her expression cycled through disbelief, barely concealed rage. And that deadpan, did I actually leave the NBA for this base as the Aces? Tripped, slipped, and Lee face planted their way through an embarrassing showing against the Washington Mystics.
Hey, Asia. You remember in preschool, kindergarten, learning the continents? You got Asia, Africa, North and South. That's the song I think of every time I hear A'ja Wilson's name. It's nothing against her. It's just a personality quirk, I guess. A'ja Wilson, the number one victim in the WNBA, and it is a tightrope.
But let's be clear, it wasn't just any Mystics team, no. This wasn't the prime-time veteran Lou Juggernaut of seasons past. This was a rebuilding roster held together by hope duct tape. And a rookie, yes, a fresh face still figuring out where the locker room is rookie, who apparently decided this was the perfect time to start her Hall of Fame highlight reel. And who was on the receiving end of that debut destruction? None other than A'ja Wilson. Or, as she probably prefers not to be called today, that one. All-star who just got schooled by someone who's still eligible for the Rookie of the Month award.
What we should be talking about in the WNBA, the talent and the incredible games that it puts on. Not all of the controversies and the drama that it brings. Because for this game not to be talked about on a large platform where you had Kiki Ariafra putting up a double-double and the young but talented Washington Mystics going head-to-head with the two-time world champion Las Vegas Aces.
It was a kind of game where even the scoreboard seemed embarrassed. The A's offense looked like it had accidentally been replaced with a try-this-at-home tick. Talk dance routine, confused, unsynchronized, and painfully offbeat passes when flying to the fourth row shots clanked off the rim with the grace of a toddler chucking Legos defense. Let's not even go to the Mystics rookie with the confidence of someone who definitely did not read the scouting report turn the court into her personal. Stage outmaneuvering, out shooting, and outright humiliating the reigning champs like it was a scrimmage.
And ain't it supposed to be talent over everything? Now you let the talent walk out the door and everybody sees it. And rest assured, there's going to come a time this season, Las Vegas.
And Becky stood there, arms crossed so tight her biceps, probably filed a complaint, jaw clenched, visibly oscillating between, I'm going to burn this playbook. And I wonder if this is what Pop meant when he said, coaching is a journey. Her team, once a fearsome powerhouse, looked like they'd wandered into the wrong arena and just decided to go with it one thing certain. If the Aces thought they could cruise through the season, Becky Hammon's courtside meltdown and that rookie-led humiliation was the loudest wake-up call they could have gotten. This isn't the Aces team that steamrolled the league the past two seasons. Remember those days when opposing teams would show up already halfway defeated, mentally prepared to lose by 20. Yeah, those days are officially over.
All of a sudden, it gets a lot more complicated. I mean, it was complicated enough for us tonight, and I don't know how many times you've seen it, and it's both leagues that I've worked in, both genders, doesn't matter. When a big time player goes out of the lineup, that other team steps up, and there's just this natural let up by the other team.
Las Vegas has gone from looking like a dynasty to looking like a disoriented group chat that lost its Wi-Fi connection. And Becky Hammon, she's had enough of defending, or more accurately, the lack thereof, has been the final straw. This team couldn't defend a paper towel from getting what Hammon knows. You could see it in her expression, which said, are y'all serious? In every language known to man, the A's perimeter defense is now essentially a welcome mat guards are dancing through there. Defense like it's open mic night at a salsa club, interior defense. Let's just say it's been soft enough to spread on toast. And unfortunately, as the backbone of this team, A'ja Wilson, is smack in the middle of this mess. A'ja Wilson started the season with fireworks, a triple-double, a statement, a mic drop. It looked like she was back on her MVP arc, ready to dominate the league and silence any whispers about competition, but fast. For just a few games, and things aren't looking so rosy.
First game. Like, A'ja Wilson is a player that if she shoots less than 10 free throws in a game, she's going to struggle. She's going to struggle. And the Aces have not looked great. Jewel Lloyd, pulling a Jewel Lloyd and then hits the game winner. Chelsea Gray, I'm sorry, Chelsea Gray, as good as Chelsea Gray's been, we're not putting 3.3 assists.
The problem isn't that Wilson suddenly forgot how to ball. Let's be clear, she's still one of the most talented players in the W, but what we're seeing is a much deeper issue, a star player getting dragged down by a team that no longer strikes fear into opponents. Wilson is putting up solid numbers, but they're starting to look like empty galleries. It's like eating a salad with no dressing and calling it dinner, technically healthy, but deeply unsatisfying. She's being pushed into the spotlight more than ever, taking on heavier responsibilities, logging more minutes, and shouldering the weight of expectations that grow louder with every game. But instead of rising to the occasion as the undeniable MVP frontrunner, she's starting to look more like a desperate survivor, clinging to the wreckage of a team in trouble. Pressure is mounting, and the cracks are starting to show. Gone are the days when A'ja Wilson could coast off past dominance. Now, every misstep is magnified, every loss is dissected, and every underwhelming performance is compared to the brilliance of her rivals.
Points, but it was a very bad game from her, and they got their asses whooped, the Aces. Oh, yeah, what she have, 31 and 15, yeah. Who cares?
The Aces, once a juggernaut, suddenly look shaky. The chemistry is off, a supporting cast is thin, and while Wilson's stats remain monstrous, she's essentially dragging this team behind her. Like a sled to molasses, double-doubles look great on paper, but when they come in losses to teams Vegas used to steamroll, voters take notice. And not in the good way. The MVP narrative thrives on momentum, not maintenance. It rewards dominance, not desperation, and Wilson's storyline is subtly but surely shifting. From beacon of excellence to a superstar trying to salvage a sputtering season. If the Aces can't rally, soon Wilson won't just be out of the MVP race. She'll be a cautionary tale of brilliance, lost in the fog of regression. Now, let's get into the real. T.A. Wilson is still, without question, a phenomenal athlete. Her stats are solid, her presence on the court undeniable, but something shifted this season, and it's not just in her play, it's in her demeanor, her energy, her vibe, the effortless joy and infectious charisma that once defined her are showing cracks. Maybe it's the pressure of being the face of a franchise year after year.
Folks, there are a lot of people campaigning, auditioning, working their ultimate best to be the number one victim in the WNBA, but A'ja Wilson, man, she is showing everybody how it is done. If you want to be a victim, you need to be consistent. You need to go year after year after year after year saying the same message.
Maybe it's a mounting frustration of expectations not being met, or maybe it's the stark realization that this season is going to be a battle every step away. Whatever the reason, the glow that made her so magnetic, that made fans and teammates rally around her, feels dimmer. She's visibly more irritable during games where she once lifted her teammates with enthusiasm and encouragement. Now there are eye rolls, sharp gestures, and a clear sense of exasperation. Mistakes are met not with leadership, but with frustration. This isn't the Aha Wilson who made the game look fun and inspired everyone around her. This is a version that seems burdened, on edge, and honestly a little harder to root for. The human side is showing, and it's complicated. And the problem with being less likable or simply being perceived as too intense or too dominant is that public perception doesn't just shape fan chatter, it influences everything from MVP campaigns to endorsements to the way analysts dissect leadership qualities in post-game breakdowns.
Aces, stop scaring us like this. My blood pressure is sky high. Okay? Aces.
A'ja Wilson isn't just playing basketball, she's navigating optics, expectations, and the burden of carrying a franchise that right now looks half asleep. If the Aces keep racking up L's and Wilson continues to play like she's dragging a team full of cardboard cutouts, the narrative around her changes, and quickly she stops being the beloved cornerstone and starts being labeled a frustrated, isolated superstar. Right now, she's not just the face of the Aces, she's the engine, the wheels, the steering. Column and the gas station that fuels the whole operation. That's not leadership, that's overextension. So far, she hasn't cracked, but let's be honest, the cracks are starting to show. You can see it in her expressions, her urgency, her body language, frustration is creeping in. And if her teammates don't start showing urgency, especially on defense, then burnout isn't a risk, it's a guarantee, and that storyline, it writes itself.
Wilson needs help in the paint. There's no doubt about it. Kia Stokes can't be the only one, number one. Number two, you're not going to see the Aces with I can't imagine they're going to have any worse of a shooting night than they did the other day. You're just not going to see that. Jewel Lloyd has been struggling, and going back to last season, I think it's 5 straight games she shot less than whatever, 20, 30% from three. She has to get into rhythm. But beyond Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, and Asia Wilson, this realistically is a new team having to come.
Let's talk about Kelsey Plum, the sharpshooter, the floor general, and now the woman who might have pulled a get-out escape from a team headed for a bumpy ride. Plum's absence is now screaming louder than any press release, because when she left, some fans questioned it. Did she need Wilson more than Wilson needed her? Was it really a good idea to step away from a championship-caliber squad? Well, fast forward now, and the answer might be painfully clear. Wilson needed Plum a whole lot more than Plum needed Wilson. With Plum, the Aces had a dynamic, fearless scorer who could spread the floor, draw defenders, and create space for Wilson to dominate. Without Plum, the spacing is a mess, and Wilson is getting double-teamed like at a playoff game in June every single night. There's no rhythm, no outside threat, consistently taking pressure off the paint. And guess what? Opponents know it.
Down by 2, WNBA MVP Asia Wilson could not make a simple layup. She's worse as
It's like watching a beautifully choreographed dance get hijacked by someone who forgot the steps. The AC's offense just doesn't flow the same. Without Plum, there's no spark, no perimeter threat that truly scares opposing defenses. It's now all on Wilson. And it shows. Meanwhile, Plum is out here living her best life, probably sipping smoothies, and watching the chaos unfold like dodge that bullet. The Las Vegas Aces are in deep trouble, and no one knows it. Better than Becky Hammon, the reigning champs. Look less like a dynasty and more like a documentary about how fast greatness can slip through your fingers. Asia Wilson is still dragging this team forward like a war general, with a shattered crown, marching through a battlefield of misassignments, disappearing shooters, and defensive breakdowns. She's doing everything short of patching a floorboard herself, and still the house is burning down around her.
Fourth quarter execution, the defense was not up to snuff at all. Way too much dribble penetration. And the other thing I'm disappointed in is if the Aces are going to, and this is something to build on with the Liberty in terms of the rivalry and the matchup, if you're going to play 4 smalls, you can't let a much bigger team compete with you and not run them off the floor. I think they got to be running and making Jonquel Jones tired. You got to make New York go small with your defense and your pace, and you certainly can't get beat off the dribble as much as the Aces did.
Aces, once a juggernaut, suddenly looks shaky. The chemistry is off. A supporting cast is thin. And while Wilson's stats remain monstrous, she's essentially dragging this team behind her. Like a sled to molasses, double-doubles look great on paper. But when they come in losses to teams Vegas used to steamroll, voters take notice. And not in a good way. The MVP narrative thrives on momentum, not maintenance. It rewards dominance, not. Desperation in Wilson's storyline is subtly but surely shifting. From beacon of excellence to a superstar trying to salvage a sputtering season. If the Aces can't rally, soon Wilson won't just be out of the MVP race. She'll be a cautionary tale of brilliance, lost in the fog of regression. Now, let's get into the real. T.A. Wilson is still, without question, a phenomenal athlete. Her stats are solid, her presence on the court undeniable, but something shifted this season, and it's not just in her play, it's in her demeanor, her energy, her vibe, the effortless joy and infectious charisma that once defined her are showing cracks. Maybe it's the pressure of being the face of a franchise year after year.
What I would say is the best, as of right this second, the best player in the league. All right. She's won, I don't know how many MVPs, won one last year. Asia Wilson continues to not only not try to be the face of the league, but to actively push people away that are trying to watch it. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, and I said this yesterday when I saw this, I tend to believe athletes make the worst sports commentators, all right? And in the case of the WNBA, it's really true. Why? They can't put their own ego, jealousy, and pettiness aside to be